Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is F. Joined here by Hindu Man and emilitoo, the support player for London Conspiracy. And today we've got the European Regional Championships coming to you live from Alpharetta, Georgia. We've got Epsilon, one of the top teams in the world. They're going to be taking on Paradigm.
You can see the brackets on your screen there as well. The progress that both these teams made to get through. Paradigm defeated Dignitas and Fnatic in a very, very good Thor against Fnatic there. Paradigm looking strong after the first set that they did against Dignitas, where they looked a little bit weaker. I don't think they prepped as well as they could have for them.
It's going to be an interesting set, as you said. Different teams have really prepped for different situations. A lot of these teams, the end of the line was making it to Worlds, but here this is very important. There's a lot of money on the line when it comes to and of course, just the superlative of being the best in the region. emilitoo, talk to me a little bit about the difference between just going to Worlds and being the European champion.
So there definitely is a moral thing. You get the first seed, you're the best team in your region. That's really big. Also, you get the first seed, you don't have to play the first bracket thingy.
You get a bye, yep.
Yeah, you get a bye. And of course you get the big nice trophy.
Exactly. That's exactly what all these players are looking at. And Epsilon, in looking at it, they're going to be opting for the first pick. Hell banned out, as well as Xingqian on the side of Paradigm.
So as usual, when you get into the LAN meta, we're in day 6 now, the LAN, the final day. A meta develops all of its own all around the LAN. It's not the same as what they would be in Europe. It's not the same as what would be in North America in your normal games or in the SPL even. So you'll see certain picks and bans get rushed through very quickly. Zeus, Xingtan, Hell, Capri. None of those shock me. They've all been very strong this week, emilitoo.
Yeah, definitely. And also one thing is that you'd had Circuit, who would be a top pick,
Sure.
top ban.
At least in Europe, definitely.
Yeah, at least in Europe. All the split. And then you go to LAN, Circuit gets through.
Circuit gets through because, you know, there's other things that are going on in the game.
Yeah.
Janus, though, locked in for Epsilon. They've gone for the global composition here already with the Thor locked in as well. Athena on the table. However, we don't see iRaffer play that too much. His only defeat actually was on that Athena, so I'm not surprised to see him not go for that option. But Sylvanus, nobody has played this split during the LAN apart from really iRaffer.
Yeah, Sylvanus fits Epsilon's playstyle really well. They get the early aggression they want to lead them to that 12-minute mark around the mid camps where they want to fight. They also get insane early pressure. Usually they're looking to play some kind of composition with an ADC that's going to set up for the Sylvanus pull, like Freya, as we talked about, the level 2 that's so strong. And it's just a really high skilled guard. And iRaffer has such good mechanics that he can play this guard to an insane level.
And we've seen that during the regular season. iRaffer has rarely stumbled, if ever, on the Sylvanus, putting himself pretty much undefeated on play of this god. On her, banned out by the guys on Paradigm. Cabrakan is picked up as well. This is a pick that we see Qvofred play a lot.
Yeah, he does like to play in the jungle. He's had good success with it too. He needed that front line. My one surprise was the fact that they picked her there and didn't look to ban out the Freya, because the Freya Sylvanus combo from Epsilon has been very strong for them. They look for the banish into the pull and they can set up a lot of damage on it. But I guess they're not too worried about that. And with the Guan Yu picked up here, that could be Guan Yu support.
That's Guan Yu support with Bluestone, and that's going to be Neith Bluestone. And what they're going to look for is the way they want to win this game is to win duo. And that way, Epsilon can't do the usual aggression, and nicely Epsilon doesn't opt to go Freya, they go a bit safer, they go for the Ram. They recognize Ram can dash out of Guan 3, he has a way easier time surviving than a Freya would. Because this lane right now, that's going to be maybe Epsilon winning the first waves, but then Paradigm is just going to stumble through them.
I'm not sure about Epsilon winning the first wave 6. That could be Sol in the Hunter role as well. I spoke to Paradigm and they will flex that. They'll run it in both mid and the Hunter role too, and at the same time Neith, well, Lawbster's played more Neith than Funballer has this split too, so it wouldn't surprise me if Neith's going to be mid here.
Yeah, it could be Neith mid, like Funballer, they had the same picks that Neith Sol, he kind of complained he didn't get Sol, he's played really strong in scrims with the Sol, so yeah, that's a really good point. It could be Sol ADC and they're just looking for that early pick onto iRaffer.
Something pretty standard coming out for Xaliea, Bellona. Now, when I say standard, I mean standard for the rest of the world outside of Xaliea. Xaliea generally brings a little flavor to that solo lane.
Well, the scary thing is it's Dimi that's going with the flavor here, with the tier pick. He picked here over Bellona in this matchup, and Bellona for the tournament has been very, very good. But he's defaulted to tier. Is there a reason for that?
Most likely it's just comfort. They kind of have, they kind of have their comp. You know, they have Janus, Thor, Sylvanus. That's their core. They kind of always opt to go for this if they can get it. They have tier which is really good at doing what Epsilon wants, like try and get picks. That's what Tier does.
And the thing is, he's a little bit like a Cyrus in lane in terms of his wave clears. Okay. At the same time, he's got the safety with his ultimate to get out of danger if he does get ganked, which is one of Dimi's strengths. Not really dying, although he did get soloed by his Ashu.
Dimi's also sort of cleaned up shop with this tier pick.
He has.
Right here, the Paradigm guys getting their hands nice and warm, ready to play. We'll take a look at our coaches. Dazer on the right-hand side coaching Paradigm, and Youngbei, the previous pro himself, he'll be coaching Epsilon as we get into our game. The coaches are done with their job. Now it's up to the players.
And it's actually going to be Funballer in the Hunter role with the Soul. Not a surprise to see that, but I expected that after speaking to the boys yesterday. However, adapting did get Thor. Once again, Yammyn got his Janus. And those two, well, that's their most picked gods for the split as well during the SPL. And they've gone to default gods. There's nothing too exciting about Epsilon's team comp. They're not showing hands, F-Dot, and I think that's a big key for them, especially going to Worlds. They've not had to show anything so far.
When you're as talented as Epsilon has proven to be, there really doesn't need to be any sort of pocket strategy shown until your back's against the wall. And it's been so long since we've actually seen Epsilon's back against the wall that, I mean, they're really just play the standard stuff and see what happens because you've won with it. Pocket picks are for when you absolutely need a win and you need to be creative about it. When you're winning with pretty standard stuff, just go for it.
And you don't need to show any strategies or what you planned for, which means they could technically save these for Worlds. Things will change before Worlds like they always do. Teams will be scrimming different things. Was there anything that you were surprised you didn't see this tournament at MLZ so far? Any picks that you expected to see out of anybody?
Not really. I think Janus has been underpicked. He's top picked right now, but it hasn't been picked at all. Also Saket, that will counter the two powerhouses in EU. They haven't like really been picked at all.
Well, there's a little bit of a matchup in mid lane there with Lawbster going for that Neith as well. It's one of his most picked gods. Neith versus the Neith versus the Janus. Well, we saw when we were casting the other day with Aurora, and the root can really play very, very well for it to stop him going through those portals, which can really pin him in an awkward spot. Yeah,
the root helps out Janus, or helps take down Janus pretty well because of the reason you just stated. And also the wave clear contests with Janus. Neith is very much a caster hunter, if you will. She's ability based, so she fits right there in the middle lane, very much so, and will actually have the wave clear a leg up on Janus as far as the wave clear is concerned for a while.
I do like the fact that they've got Neith in mid lane as well. Hang on, we've seen a lot of aggression on this side, and actually Trix got poked down very, very low, but as has the boy iRaffer. iRaffer could go down for first blood here, but look at this, emilitoo in trouble too. The poke pressure from the duo comp there.
Yeah, just a little spread out right there, and Epsilon did the correct thing by spreading out and going two separate directions. You force Paradigm.
Look at this quick rotation
figure out where they want to spend their attention on, and adapting going to spend his attention onto the dual lane right here. Just taking out the minions first of all, in case Epsilon want to get aggressive, they won't be able to dive those.
I don't think adapting to expected to be aggressed on as hard as he was just then. That was just really good work from Paradigm boys. They forced a rotation out of Thor early, and that's what Epsilon are good at. They were good at coming over to support the teammates, but they took a lot of poke there too. Good news is that moment of him being there bought time for the boys of Epsilon to heal back up to full.
Yeah.
You see that more often in the solo lane, where the jungler shows up just to provide some breathing room, but here in the duo lane very early on, it was very important for Epsilon just to get a chance to let the Sylvanus heal tick up and then pretty much bring everybody back to even health bars.
And it feels like when we look at the Paradigm team here, it looks like they've gone with a pocket strat with this Sol Guan combination here, MLZ. Very push power heavy, very poke heavy, and they've got sustain with the Guan too.
Yeah, it's something they want, and what's really smart is that Epsilon picked Rama. If that would have been a Frey right there, that would have possibly been a double kill early on. So Epsilon playing really smart around it, and I like the Thor rotation early on to come out to allow emilitoo and iRaffer to stay even in this lane. Because they're not going to lose gold to tower, because they have insane push. They're not really going to get kills either. And the big thing is they're not in risk of getting killed now.
Yeah, but they've not got a rush just yet. The good news is because obviously there aren't health potions here, no potions available for the boys of Epsilon. And Adapt's actually going to swing around to the right-hand side looking for pressure onto Xaliea, who just got juggled.
Pushed into the wall by Dimi. Rally here, says the solo laner, but it's no big deal as Adapting takes down Xaliea. First blood in game number 1 goes to Epsilon.
That was really good communication there. Dimi clearly called to Adapting that he was fine, otherwise Adapting would have gave up the kill and blocked the World Weaver shot. But Dimi told him quite clearly then, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. This is not going to kill me. Works out great. Typical Epsilon though. You go aggressive on them, you feel like you've got them in an awkward spot, MLZ, and then the next minute they kill you.
Yes, Adapting's just always there. Whenever you feel like you're winning the side lanes, he's there. And he did a really good job blocking off the possible escape path.
Is that where we saw Xaliea go in then, really?
Yeah.
Because he was just going to get caught if he went elsewhere.
Yeah, if he jumped out, he would have gotten stunned, and he would have died anyway. Trying to go for the kill with the World Weaver almost worked out. Dimi survived at, I believe, like around 100 HP.
And I think that's the key with the Neith in the mid lane here as well, is it's going to allow them to try and respond to the aggression from Epsilon here. Yammyn, you'll see him do the 3 space and time, but then he can fire a World Weaver after him to slow him down on that rotation. Same for potentially adapting coming in for the engagements, which you saw there over in the solo lane.
I just really like how adapting shows up on the complete other side of the world, right?
Yeah.
Left-hand lane, and then the next position you see him in, he's on the right side of the map completely. So just a little bit of surprise coming out from the guys on Epsilon.
Yeah, one thing I see here is that Janus actually opts to go for breastplate 1. I believe he went ramp shout, breastplate,
Then boots.
then boots. So he's gonna finish boots and then get breastplate.
Yep.
Which is a really nice choice.
Well, we saw this out of Fnatic as well, and these two were scrim partners.
Yeah.
We saw Zeros do this on the Janus, so not a surprise to see them both going for this when they were against a Hunter in the mid lane.
The only thing I'm kind of worried about is that there's a magical jungler.
Exactly.
And they...
Mid lane, down
Magical
comes
ADC.
Thor, looking for the Neith, grabs a stun, but unfortunately, the ultimate did not hit.
It was good poke pressure out, though, from Epsilon there. They put the pressure onto Lawbster. Lobster's going to make sure he watches the position a little bit more now. But as usual, Lawbster, probably one of the safest mid laners in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very difficult to gank, and he got the good backflip off at the right time. Got himself out of danger.
Yeah, Neith is very safe in that mid lane. There is not a lot of gank potential if you don't hit your ult.
And if you take too long, Cabrakan will
if
turn
you
up
take
too.
too long. Lobster went in instead of going backwards. He actually went towards the enemy, and then he backflipped out, and that was really smart because Adapting predicted that he would just start running as soon as he heard the ult, which he did hear the ult.
Very smart stuff coming out from the mid laner on Paradigm. We'll take a look as Epsilon clears out a little bit of their jungle. And one of the things you referenced earlier about the breastplate is that, yeah, there's a magical jungler on the side of Paradigm, but to be fair, we usually see it flip-flop, the magical mid laner and the physical jungler. So in that case, you do have to worry about Xaliea a little bit later as well. So Janus sort of looking towards the future, and the Lawbster, because a lot of times we'll see these mages get rooted and then take a couple of basics, and all of a sudden they're far too low to even fight.
And that's a big key. Like, hunters do well against mages if they can avoid the damage of the abilities more than anything. And Neith is one of those that has abilities of her own that can really push back as well and put the pressure on. Best thing about Paradigm's comp for me is they've got sustain, as well as they've got very good front line, and the back line when it comes to pushing down towers. Assault and a Neith will not take long. If you give them an opportunity, Paradigm can really punish, Epsilon because they've got those double hunters to an extent.
Yeah. Good pull by iRaffer.
Yeah, he gets a good pull off. He's really looking for the ward there, but he's got to watch the rotation coming out, because obviously with 3 of them there, you don't want to stick around too much, so iRaffer backing up. We did see him get picked off against you guys, actually, the other day, where he got caught a little bit out of position on his own, and luckily the rest of the team showed up afterwards to clean it up.
Yeah. That's kind of what Epsilon does.
But Adaption was actually waiting around the corner there, spotted out by Qvofred, takes a bit of poke and realises, nope, changing my mind, he's going to try and disengage. They're looking for a World Weaver combo though on him, and immediately the ult comes out from Adaptive. Very wise, get that immunity to get away from the stun.
Well played by Adapting. Just quick fingers to be able to operate and just go right towards the ultimate.
Xalia's
Dimi
really struggling.
pressuring out his solo laner, but here comes the rest of Paradigm. Support and jungle show up just to push Dimi and save Xalia's life.
That was very good poke from Trixtank though. He got most of his Tele Assault off there, which really weakened Dimi down a little bit more. He was looking to really turn around and get a heal off, but immediately Trix backed out, so it was good poke. He'll still be fine though, because he'll sustain off the next wave. But like the rotations out of Trixtank there, just got to be careful they don't lose anything on the left-hand side because he's over there.
The thing why Trix rotated was because they knew Adapting's ult was down. So the win they got of forcing Adapting out, he had to back, he didn't have an ult. By doing that, they could allow aggression on the other side of the map without being worried for gold food.
I'll talk about aggression. Here's a cavalry charge and Qvofred, but he just walled off his own teammates. They might find Adapting though. Will Adapting fall? No, he'll spin out, and Raffer's got him with a big ultimate as well. Ooh. Now on the backside, Trix has no ult to get out of this one. He's just going to have to deal damage. He's using body blocks off that Cyclops, but he's still going to fall down.
Raffer picks up 1 thanks to the Wisps, and now Qvo in a little bit of trouble. Yammyn's throwing down the basics. He slows him out. The unstable vortex might come out on the bottom, but on the top, Dimi Dimi takes that one in tandem with the teammates. 3 down on the side of Paradigm. 4 kills for Epsilon. And Paradigm, although they started that fight, they come out fruitless.
They come out fruitless, and the one thing again, Dimi's rotation was very, very strong there to help pick up an extra kill. He got focused in the solo lane a little bit earlier, but because they didn't burn his ultimate, that ultimate paid off for him there as well. Rafa did good work with the ult though, MLZ. Right on point.
Yeah, that was a really, really strong ult. He got the 3-man ult, allowed emilitoo to get his astral arrows to shoot through multiple targets. So he got a lot of extra damage off. Also, Dimi's recognized his teleport was up. Xalia's teleport wasn't up because he teleported to the tower, so Dimi teleported to the Gold Fairy. And because he did that, they got a way better fight.
Way, way better fight. 4-0 is Epsilon, and it's kind of been the story of the season for them after.
Yeah, that's really just been sort of how dominant Epsilon has been, and a lot of it, it's so funny how the turning point of that fight was iRaffer, right? iRaffer comes in, and he's been such a cornerstone for this team, but what's so important is how everybody responded. Immediately pointed out the teleport from Dimi on the other side of the map, and everybody responded here, and really it was all just off of the second that Wrath of Terror really provides.
Well, they got a lot of pressure onto Adapting again there, but Adapting manages to get out, and that's one thing about Epsilon. We talk about Epsilon in so many different aspects of their play. They always know when to get out, and they always make it. I think that's a big point. They make it out with the barest amount of health because they know how much they can tank or how much damage they're going to take.
I don't know about
know when to leave.
I don't know about always. Epsilon has lost a single game.
A single game.
But they've also died more than 0.
That's
so,
true.
not always.
They die sometimes, but sometimes, you know, they know how to calculate things a lot better than most teams.
Without a doubt, these guys are really, a lot of times you'll see them just by the skin of their teeth. They understand the finer points of the minute pieces of damage.
You can see with the Xaliea coming online slowly for emilitoo here. He's got the tier 2 of it finished already, but once that's finished, he's not too worried about boxing out a little bit more. He's got a little bit more health in the pool up against the Soul, so he can take a poke off, poke off the Soul and then still heal back up. If Soul fully commits, he can still go to the sky and wait for reinforcements.
I'm interested to see how Funball opts to build the Soul. We've seen so many different variations of Soul, just straight mage, cooldown. We've seen Polynomicon.
And there was talk from Aurora yesterday that he likes to spare the Magus build, and it looks like we may be seeing the spear coming out from Funballer here as his second item. What do you feel about the builds on Sol MLZ?
You kind of have two choices. Either you go for the book power spike, or you can get the bit earlier power spike of Spear of Magus. And Spear allows you to deal more damage early on, but later into the game you're gonna lack damage because you don't have that Book of Thor, or if you get it. It's not the worst because you can get it later, because Book doesn't give anything more than, I think it's like around 20 power when it's fully stacked. But yeah, it feels like he builds right with the comp because they're looking for this early aggression. And if he can get some really good damage off on, let's say, iRaffer, who's actually also opted to go into Reinforced Greaves. That's probably a part of it. He just sees that the whole enemy team is building so tanky. He's gonna try and
shred through those protections as quick as possible.
So the Reinforced Greaves, a lot of times we see that this is an item that has really been purchased a little bit more than it has in the past. This sort of wasn't ever purchased until not recently, but in recent memory. And a lot of the times you see that when there's heavy, heavy CC on the other side. I don't really see too much super heavy CC that those boots are going to mitigate. So why the choice of these?
I think what iRaffer is scared of is Qvofred just going on him with his 1-2 combo. If he gets more time to react to that, because he can get CC changed for so long, plus DR, he's going to have a way better time. And also, Sylvanus, you don't really need cooldown boots. It's one of these characters where you would see people go Hilarious. But now you don't really need it. You can just go for the Reinforced Greaves. Cooldown boots are always nice, but it's fine.
Well, we're about to hit the 12-minute mark, and as I always say, this is the time you may see Epsilon turn it up a gear. They just seem to switch it on a little bit more. And you can see the position around the Gold Fury once more. Rafa just hanging around, looking at Trixtank, making sure he knows where he is, and Adapting is with him.
But just look, Hinderman, they're positioning around the Gold Fury, but look at how Epsilon does it. More often than not, these teams will stay on their side of the gold, and the other team will be on the other side. Epsilon is in Paradigm's jungle, forcing them to forcing Paradigm to push Epsilon back.
And they're still looking at potentially doing the Gold Fury here. Positions key for it, and Yammyn just caught them going back to the mid lane. They don't have many wards though at the moment, Epsilon, and Adapting going to get some nice poke damage off onto Funballer. Those mages are quite squishy in the Hunter role. Obviously no Xaliea, and look at that, Funballer's going in.
Funball rolls forward, gets a nice hit thanks to the after effect of that roll. Up in the air he goes, no stun to help him out. but the basics are strong enough. emilitoo gets credit for the kill onto Funball.
And adapting immediately, he tanked the tower to make sure he could keep him busy, allowed the snipes to come out from emilitoo, knowing he had ult to disengage again. As per usual, Epsilon knew what was up. They went in at the right time.
I like how emilitoo didn't need the Thor stun. Just gets it raw dog off the shot with the ultimates. Fantastic. Love it.
And that's just what Epsilon does. They realized an opportunity. They made that by just hanging around the jungle. It was nothing too special, Milsey.
No, there's nothing too special about that. That's kind of the usual Epsilon pick. They get a play around adapting. They play with adapting around someone. And what adapting this is, he uses Berserker Barrage. So that Funballer don't really have a choice. He can't really juke around, because if he starts juking around, he's just gonna die to the 4. So instead he has to try and run away from 4. But that way, emilitoo has way easier shots, and it just works up, ending out way better for them. Also, a really important point right now is that Epsilon, they have the aura items up right now. They have the Sovereignty online, they have the Soul Leader online, and where you see on the part of Paradigm, Trixtank is going for Height of Urchin.
I was going to mention the Urchin there as well, because the Height of the Urchin coming online, all about yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't really help your team in any way. Meanwhile, iRaffer, the other support, he's gone for the Sovereignty.
I actually really like the Urchin specifically on the Guan Yu, because while you do like the auras, and possibly the auras come on a little bit later, Guan Yu staying alive will actually help your team by way of extra heals and such like that. So Guan Yu staying alive versus some other support staying alive will actually... Guan Yu's an aura in and of himself with that conviction heal. So I actually really like the choice for the Urchin.
With adapting showing left-hand side here as well, we may see some more pressure come out from the jungler of Paradigm. They're going to have to make sure they stay on this side as well for the Gold Fury. They're potentially looking for Funballer for a second time here. Funballer doesn't really know about this just yet, but his positioning is pretty good for the time being. They may be actually be looking for the purple buff on this side as well, but at the moment, just clearing Warden, once again, controlling the Gold Fury.
Yeah, pings coming out on the left-hand side of the jungle. Pretty sure those are Paradigm pings, letting Funball know exactly what's going on. Stay safe.
Yep.
Be behind a tower, if at all.
There is a couple of wards online, though. I'm sorry, available for Paradigm here. Sentry Ward for Qvofred, he's just placed to clear that one out. Lawbster also has one in his inventory, but they do not have Gold Fury secure right now. You can see how Epsilon keep pulling this, they're trying to bait people in and find picks.
Here we go. Paradigm, trying to play a little bit of defense. 4-on-4. Solo laners back to base. They'll probably be making themselves known here. Dimi is teleported in. They want to fight. Is Epsilon. While Xaliea is still stuck in the lane.
That's given a lot up, though, because Paradigm now know the Gold Fury is a real threat. If Dimi's coming over with a teleport, they're doing the Gold Fury. And Epsilon realize that with Dimi being spotted, they have to rush this down, and they've got to get it.
Epsilon pick up the gold, but here comes Paradigm on the aggressive, trying to make them pay for it. Ultimate out of Yammyn. And there's emilitoo in the air. Pick it off. Qvo from a distance. Funball takes out iRaffer.
Yeah, that was a big one. A great wall from adapting there, but still under pressure here is emilitoo. He will fall down to Funball. Yammyn gets some good damage off, and Dimi there with a fantastic juggle, but a good heal from Trix.
Trying to help out his
good
Janus
fight
from
Paradigm.
far, but Lawbster able to take out adapting, and Xaliea going to take out Dimi. The two soul laners fight, and it's on the other side of the map. So previously we saw Epsilon up 5-0. That last fight winds up 4-1.
But if you look at the graphs there, we'll go back to a minute. You can see how the team fight went there for them. Epsilon got the Gold Fury, and they chose to reinitiate. They felt they could outplay Paradigm there, but Paradigm were ready, and Paradigm won the engagement off the back of that. I think Epsilon could have all got out. Adapting was in the sky already. Yammyn was out of the fight and came back in. emilitoo, after the picks, could have rolled away and stayed there. They could have lost iRaffer for a Gold Fury, and that would have been fine. They lost a lot, didn't they, Milsey?
Yeah, they lost quite a bit. And what I liked from Paradigm was that they had their core items at this point. They had the Mystical Mail, they had the Trance, they had the Spear of Magus, and they knew that if we have to fight, we have to do it now. They just used abilities on the Gold Fury. Janus 2 was down, emilitoo's Steroid was down. They went in, and it worked out really well for them.
And a big part of that, which I give Paradigm a lot of credit to, is that they waited and they waited and they waited. A lot of the times, not just Dimi, but the soul lane teleport in general is, all right, the team comes in to defend the objective, and then the solo teleport comes in from behind, and a tier from behind is going to grab 3 people in a Fearless. That fight goes completely differently. Paradigm wait, and even though they give up the Gold Fury, they see, as Hinduman pointed out, Dimi's already here. We already know what's going on. It's a full commit, and Dimi can't get that surprise from the backside Fearless that he's looking for so much. So a little bit of good positioning, a little bit of good hesitation, which is not something that we usually call good, comes out positive for Paradigm.
It came out positive, but I feel as on the back, like I said, of Epsilon over-aggressive. They could have got out. They could have got out and left that clean. They chose to fight to find the big win, like they always like to do. They like to outplay their opponents. They had the objective. So worst case scenario, if they lose the fight afterwards, they're still even.
Right.
If you look at the graphs, we'll just go back to them again so I can show you. Look at the dip that happened there. I know the experience changed quite a bit in Paradigm's favor, but the gold, it went up, came down, still relatively even. They still had a lead.
The gold is even, but a big point is the XP. And then there's a graph that you never see, morale. Paradigm got the fight. Maybe they screamed. I couldn't hear it, but I think they screamed. They're hyped now. They have something to play for. They didn't really fall like 5k behind as you usually see teams do against Epsilon at this time.
Well, they came out on top, but they're looking potentially here to gank Dimi on this right-hand side, but immediately disengage over there. And Epsilon, one of the best teams at like splitting camps in the jungle.
And also, not for nothing, the soul pick. What the soul pick does is opens up, as you take a look, the left-hand dual lane towers down. That's what the soul pick does. Sure, there's a lot of lane pressure, and people are questioning the mid-game potential of the god, which is all very valid, but anytime you get the opportunity to look at a tower by yourself for the smallest amount of time, it's going down if you're a soul. That's what she brings to the party.
Talking about going down, tier 1 tower on the right does fall for Epsilon there. Picking that one up with a good rotation from Adapt, and you can see iRaffer was on that side too. What it seems to be is, the way I'm looking at Trixtank right now, he seems to be following Adapting through the jungle as best he can and keeping pace with him, but a good pressure from Paradigm mid there.
Yeah,
every tower just being answered right here, either Epsilon or Paradigm going back and forth.
Yeah, that was really nice. They realized that Epsilon just pressured right. They got the tower, they pressure mid, and they get the tower.
And now they're trying to pressure right-hand side too. A little bit out of position here is Epsilon. Paradigm wait for that minion wave to come in with that Hunter there, Neith. They should have the power to bring this one down. Epsilon have to give this one up too. Meanwhile, look at what's going on in mid lane. Adapting, pushing that one down.
Yeah, but this time you probably won't see it falling because you have the Neith ult, you have Sol there. It's a fed Sol as well.
Dimi's doing very good work to keep him off the tower here and defend this solo. Meanwhile,
Nice
Funballer has rotated mid. He's in trouble.
Look at those blocks. Dimi could not walk past the wall of Guan Yu. And then a strong root from Lawbster, who made the rotation, sticks him even more. Lawbster picks the kill up onto iRaffer, who's made the rotation over here to help out Dimi. And emilitoo's here as well.
Really good performance so far from Paradigm. Dimi actually misses the Fearless combo there. Yammyn still looking for poke pressure, but damage onto him again. He's going to force him out of the engagement. emilitoo very far forward trying to get the poke out, and finally Adapting shows up. Snipes are available.
Adapting picks up one. emilitoo cannot confirm a kill, but he deals the damage necessary to help out his team. There's 3 members of Epsilon here. Make that 2 as Dimi's taken down by Xaliea for the second part of the double
Epsilon
kill.
come in 1 by 1 onto the arc and just get evaporated by Paradigm there. Paradigm take the tower as well. They could potentially look for the tier 2 here as well. This is the first time Epsilon have really made some rookie mistakes that we've not seen them do all season.
You know, it's interesting. Kevin before was asking, he wanted to see Epsilon under some early pressure. Well, it's 20 minutes. I'm not sure about early, but Epsilon is definitely under pressure at the moment.
They are, and iRaffer was on the front line with Dimi there for the most part. Dimi managed to get himself out, and then they all focused their attention to iRaffer. Guan Yu very good against Sylvanus though, for really trying to pick him up here, MLZ.
Yeah, the projection threat you see go out from his 3 is just insane. And one thing that I want to point out as well, if you lose a fight against a Sol, it doesn't matter if you're 1 down, this team with the Sol has to take an advantage and get towers. And what you see them do, they have double ADC, they got 2 towers. Smart play by Yammyn, he goes mid, he gets the mid tower, he forces Xaliea out, but it doesn't really matter because Paradigm still comes up ahead.
And Epsilon, Paradigm, after taking that tier 2 tower, they get a small gold lead, experience of 3,000 now. But Epsilon, well, this is the furthest other than the Fnatic game earlier on in the split that we've seen them down in any way.
What's that spread? It's a couple of hundred?
Yeah, it's close. But I mean, experience is a different story. But look at this Paradigm starting up the goal fury. Let's listen to the Paradigm comms for this and see how they're going to take it down.
Strong enough to fight? 7A.
Careful. Look for a fight here if we can.
Heal up, Fred.
Careful.
Look for fight.
I'm gonna place a D-ward at the back here so we know if there's anyone ulting.
Get after it, get after it.
Look for water on Cabra, if anything.
No, on Sylvanus.
I don't blink yet. They come from behind there.
Yeah, but I can heal. Doesn't matter if he pokes me or not at this point.
Mid of it. Or the Lawbster to it.
I think it's safest to siege at this point, this man.
Yeah, probably. We need vision around this. We need central.
I'm coming behind them with a blink. Free mid.
They're mid.
Got right here.
They're still mid.
No eyes Rama, no eyes Rama.
Thor going left jungle. Start gold again. We can bait Janus ult at least.
Sylvanus back.
I cannot tank this.
I can tag it, I guess.
One of the things that I want to take away from this immediately as we watch Paradigm take on the gold is how calm these comms are. Now, normally when we cut to Paradigm, win or lose, these guys are hooting and hollering, these guys are screaming, ranting and raving, and I want to lead the conversation with, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think this is Paradigm just taking this game as seriously as possible. Paradigm have not seen an enemy. I mean, Epsilon is their fiercest competitor.
I've heard them as they've been playing this game and they found those big team fights that have gone well for them, hooting and hollering like we always do. However, the fact that we go back into the comms there and it's very, very structured, very, very clear, it's good. They're not all emotional about the whole thing. They realize it's got to be stay fully focused, keep the comms clean so we can understand what's going on. Calls are being made from everybody that you heard, like missing Rama, we need wall coverage here, let's stop the goal fury, I can't tank it, I need the support. Millsy sounds really good so far.
Yeah, it sounds really clean for Paradigm. They're not over-hyped. They still have the hype, but the comms are so clean that everyone knows what they're doing. That's really important, even if you're like ahead or even behind.
Yeah.
If you have clean comms, with clear clean comms, you're definitely gonna have the upper hand.
So what's the game plan for Epsilon here?
Epsilon, they kind of want to wait for Paradigm to make a mistake, and then maybe what I want to see is they maybe send emilitoo to try and outplay Funballer, even though it's really hard right now because Funballer actually already got rid of the hoodie. But try and pull someone away. Maybe let Dimi pull Xaliea away. Maybe get some split push from Yammyn. But right now, I don't think they want to take the 5v5 fight because right now Paradigm is just on a timing with the rod, with the executioner, with the pestilence. They can fight this.
No, I was talking to Paradigm as well after about the Sol and the Hunter. I was like, listen, it's not working, but you guys played it a minute, worked out. And they went, yo, you guys haven't seen Funballer's Hunter, Funballer Sol yet. And I was like, it's just going to be like all the others, and no watch. And he's having a great game.
Well, Funball's the guy. Funball has played the Cronoses, the Freyas. Funball's really the one that brings those mages, the mage hunters, into the hunter role a lot of the time. So the old mage basic attack oriented character is really not unfamiliar territory for Funball. He's definitely the one that leads the charge.
Rod of Tahuti being online is such a big impact in this now. His burst damage is going to be insane here, Millsy, especially with the Polynomicon.
Yeah, it's a lot. Can we see how much power Sol has right now?
Hold on a second. The pressure on mid lane again coming out from Paradigm. We've still got the aggression coming out from them. But look at this blinking. iRaffer gets a good ultimate off, and here we go.
Out from the backside comes Yammyn, right off the top, shoots out the ultimate, deals some damage, and it's going to send Paradigm packing. Epsilon, however, they're going to come up the corridor and through the tunnel. Qvofred getting aggressed on, he'll come right on in, and Dimi flipping back with the team. Paradigm's HP bar is all generally about half, and emilitoo going to not land the final shot, but force Lawbster completely out of the fight. The rest of Paradigm, however, have turned on iRaffer. Xaliea picks up a kill. Qvofred is ground pounding. emilitoo's in trouble. Xaliea picks up the double kill right there. All that's fallen for Paradigm is Trixtank. And meanwhile, Epsilon, they've suffered 3 deaths already.
Didn't find the kills that they wanted to more than anything else. And now we're sat here with Adapting and Yammyn under the tower against Funballer, who's poking it down really strongly. What a good fight again. Talk me through where did it go wrong, Millsy?
What it went wrong was that you had the frontliner of Epsilon, they had Dimi. Dimi went on Qo, and if you look at Qfred's build, he's Mystical Mail, he's Breastplate. He's not gonna die to, what's it called? He's not gonna die to Dimi. And
they're
what
still
I
going in. Pressure on Adapting there. They're gonna get a lot of pressure on. Luckily, Ethereal Form kicks in for Funballer there. He knew how much he could tank that.
Yeah, that was very well played, and again, that's just Sol. They have Sol, they have Neith, they get the win, they can just take something. That's why you gotta be so careful of not losing these team
Really
fights.
what I like about the Sol play coming out from Funball specifically is Epsilon tries to make their advance a stun and a strong ult coming out from Adapting, but it's dodged by the guys on Paradigm. So no follow-up for Epsilon.
There's a lot of people that say Adapting doesn't miss ults, so he doesn't miss abilities ever, but he missed that one. A nice little juke back from Funball. He stood still for a moment.
That's what
well
it
played.
is. That's what it is. I mean, Adapting, Paradigm has just, from that minute when Lawbster got the juke, it's just been jukes. It hasn't necessarily been Adapting off the mark.
And to be credit to Paradigm here as well, they've had a long week. They've been playing all week. They had to go through the boys of Dignitas in the best of 5. They then took on Fnatic. It wasn't obviously easy. It's Fnatic at the end of the day. And now they find themselves up against Epsilon. And they're looking a lot stronger than they did against Dig, let's be honest. A lot stronger.
Man, this one is very interesting game. I mean, Epsilon, as we said, they only lost one game during the regular season. 8 to 10 on the kills, and Paradigm leading by a fair chance, 4,700. Let's say there is a lot of Smite to be played, right? Let's say this game goes to Paradigm. I am super excited to see how Epsilon responds. I don't think that we've really gotten the opportunity to see how Epsilon plays when they're down.
To be fair, when we know they've lost a game before, they generally step it up. They just have other gears, I feel, to switch to. Yes, they've made mistakes in this game so far, and Paradigm have put themselves in a fantastic spot. But we mentioned, we've not really seen anything special out of their picks and bans.
That's exactly what I was going to mention, Hindu, man. Very standard setup. Dimi playing tier. I even call that standard. Dimi's always played tier for as long as I've known him, since he was a ninja. And now these days, we'll see what Epsilon has in the bank, because Paradigm is playing this almost perfectly.
Well, they noticed the Gold Fury is still being done by Paradigm there, because Dimi was over that side. Now they tried to do something around the Fire Giant, bait somebody into a fight, but Paradigm positioned themselves well, and they sent the correct front line in, which was Trix, and he knew to get out again once he got poked.
And you see how quickly Paradigm dropped that Gold Fury. It was just Funball, and he immediately dropped it, knew that Paradigm had to pay more attention to the right-hand side since Epsilon was starting the Fire Giant.
Are you surprised by this, Emilzy, that Epsilon are getting beat right now?
Yeah, I thought that Paradigm was really gonna... They were really gonna get beat up hard, but right now they're playing it very well. What Epsilon is doing right is when they're contesting gold or looking for gold, they're going to Fire and forcing them to drop the Gold Fury. Now they're gonna get it, because they don't have the ward vision right now.
No pressure from Epsilon right now. Gold Fury goes for free to Paradigm. Again, the lead extends in this game. Ooh. Paradigm, they're looking good so far. This game's still not over, though. emilitoo, late game, very strong Rama with the steroid as well. Don't forget, Adapting is still on the map. He's not had the greatest of games so far, but Adapting's still here. And Dimi, well, Dimi doesn't die that often. He's died a couple this game.
A little bit. This aggression, however, won't result in death. Qvofred gets a strong stun, and some more damage comes out. But at the end of the day, look how tanky we've got. The Runeforged Hammer and the Mail of Renewal. So really, Dimi not in too much trouble when being aggressed on by the Guan Yu.
Oh, Will Weaver comes out looking for the pressure onto iRaffer. iRaffer's in a lot of trouble. Collapsed on by the boys, and there's still a lot of pressure from them as well. We can see Dimi still looking for the opportunity too.
Paradigm coming on from the left-hand side. The majority of the team trying to make things happen. Epsilon, however, they have their jungler in the air. Chasing out is Guan Yu. This one, well, Xaliea is all by himself on the right side. Paradigm come to respond in turn. Yammyn has to be forced out thanks to Qvofred pounding the ground.
But their backline is still alive and on full health, and now they're coming in again. Funballer as well as Lawbster putting the pressure on and forcing the boys of Epsilon out. You can see the split at the moment. Epsilon regroup, but that engagement for the most part goes to Paradigm. They'll both heal, but look at the mana difference. Mana on Paradigm is a lot healthier.
Epsilon really able to just sort of weather the storm and push out that aggression out of Paradigm. And really the point there, Emilzy, I think it was because Paradigm got split up, Xaliea was by himself, and Epsilon forced the rest of Paradigm to respond. Is that really how that went, or is there something we're missing?
I think the big key right there was, it's not really a secret, there was some lag, which happens sometimes on LAN. The service has been really great, but right there, it was just the lag that allowed iRaffer to get out. But what I really liked from Paradigm wasn't they went like, oh man, he only got out because it lagged, man, whatever. Like they kept the limit, they kept fighting, and that was really key part.
Well, right now 10-8 is the scoreline. 31 minutes in. Goal difference at the moment is about 6,000. Speed buff started, but look at this. Fire Giant began from Paradigm on this backside as well. They're getting the pressure on to the Fire Giant here. And at the moment, Epsilon don't have vision of this, and I don't think they expect it.
Yeah, no, there's no way Epsilon can respond. Paradigm pick up the objective for free. And right now, Epsilon, the #1 seed, the arguable best team in the world, is trailing by 7,000 plus a Fire Giant. Paradigm are showing just how focused they are, and Epsilon finally showing signs of mortality.
Mortality indeed. They're going to pressure mid lane here with that Soul and Neith combination. Their burst on the towers, and Phoenix is going to be insane. You saw how quickly the Fire Giant fell there, and now, well, Epsilon have to defend at this Phoenix. Dimi's doing work on there, and there's iRaffer going in. He gets an open, a backflip from Lawbster. Beautifully timed. Adapting, still looking for things, but he can't find the damage on Funballer enough to kill.
Adapting forced out this time around. Paradigm, though, can't find the aggression they want. 4 members being pushed back. in the middle lane. Around the back comes Adapting, just trying to poke as well as he can. Paradigm, let's ride with them as they make the push onto Epsilon.
Dimi, yeah, good job, good job, good job. Push left, push left, push left. Come here, heal, heal, heal. There we go, there we go. Fred tank, Fred tank. I still teleport up and everything.
Win.
Did you kill him?
He's ready.
Help.
Kill him.
Kill him? Did you start him? No, get out. Yammyn,
You said
Yammyn.
below, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go
Okay,
right. Heal up here.
Oh, we could have ended there.
No, possibly, it's fine. Possibly, whatever.
No, it's
Go
fine,
right.
let's go right. No need to wipe her. Like.
Watch out.
You know, Hindu, I was going to ask you right before, if we didn't go to comms, my conversation was, do you think they can end here?
They could have ended there, but I think they don't want to make any mistakes. You can't
Paradigm
give
couldn't
Epsilon,
even figure out.
cannot give Epsilon a single opportunity to get back in this game. They have this game completely in their grasp. It's theirs to throw, and if they make a mistake there, well, you'd have hated yourself to lose the game off.
Exactly. What I was saying is Paradigm couldn't even figure out whether or not they wanted to go for the win. But right now with the kills that they're grabbing, that might turn things around. Dimi will spawn in about 5 seconds, but Emilito's down for the count. Almost a full minute on the Hunter, and he's been a lot of the damage out of Epsilon.
All three Phoenixes now down. Paradigm are just going to probably wait for these fire minions to start pushing in from all angles and look to close this game out. Emilito dead for 40 seconds in a 4v5. There's a chance, though, with the mana bar on Trixtank, they may wait a little bit longer just for the Fire Giant regen to really kick in here and he can get the heals out. But at the moment, there'll be people around the world that were saying Paradigm will go down 3-0 here, at least in Europe, I guarantee you that. And NA will be smiling because they realize this team can be beaten.
Dimi flips on from the top side, and now all members of Epsilon are almost on the board. Just 15 seconds for Emilito to come back. And Paradigm, they haven't really retreated. They've just stayed here, providing pressure, pushing the minions into the base. The Titans at 50%. Epsilon Esports is trying to do what they can to
So
defend.
much damage.
Raffer's going to fall thanks to Qvo, or at least push him out of the fight. The Titans at 25%. Emilito gets a kill, but the Titan is not looking strong, and Paradigm take the first game in the European Regional Championships.
A very good performance from Paradigm. They were up against it early on. As usual, Epsilon got off to their usual start, but they were ready for them around the 12-minute mark. They didn't fall for the Gold Fury baits. They won a team fight at the Gold Fury after Epsilon got it, and from there, they put themselves in a prime position and took a couple more fights. MLZ, what was it just that one Gold Fury at the beginning that just swung that game, or was it the second one?
That was the starting point. The second one was the swinging point. But one thing I want to point out here was that you would see Xaliea get pressured out really hard in solo lane. He was almost always on like 200 HP when we looked over. But Xaliea managed to get the better rotations. He managed to get the kills for Paradigm. Where Dimi, he didn't really get the kills that he looked for. He was 1-3 at a point where Xaliea was 5-1. Xaliea was so much more tanky. He was able to frontline so much more than Dimi, and I think that's a key point to winning here. It's just Xaliea being more on point with rotations than Dimi.
There's a few people that said 3-0. There's a few people that said 1-3. Well, it could still be 1-3 though after.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely still be 1-3. Epsilon, as we said, it's rare that we've really seen this team down, and I'm definitely not going to go near the word out. They've played a very standard setup this time around. Dimi on the tier, not really sure if it worked out, but we'll see. Maybe Epsilon has some things up their sleeves, or maybe they just do the same thing and try it a little bit better this time. Kellen, the analysts, why don't you help us and break down game one?
Thank you so much, F. Welcome back to the Analyst Lounge, everyone. Joining us is eager Kret. Kret, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Kelly. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you for returning back the cadence of the voice. All right, so Paradigm, a team that almost lost to Team Dignitas, now took a game off of Epsilon Esports, a team that we all considered one of the best in the world. What exactly happened, Anatoly?
Well, Paradigm proved that Epsilon was mortal, and the biggest mistake that Epsilon made was that Gold Fury that they started around the 10 to 12 minute mark. They got it for free. Paradigm were coming in, and then they disengaged with the Thor ulti and the Janus portal, and then they decided to fight them, and I think it turned into a 4-0, something like that, and it was just Paradigm's game from there. They started diving the backline, and they had no answers, was Epsilon.
Kret, once that Gold Fury fight happened, what could have Epsilon done differently to secure their mid and late game?
Sure. Well, I think what Paradigm did was they drafted a team comp that looks very strange with the Guan and the Cabrakan, which is very much what you expect from Paradigm. You don't expect Paradigm to play things that are standard, but their team comp actually played pretty straightforward, right? They put their frontliners in front of you, and their backliners do more damage than your backliners. So I think Epsilon needed to find a way to eliminate Neith and Soul, stop them from either being able to auto-attack or just kill them outright, and Epsilon never really found that.
Yeah, we constantly saw Soul in those team fights with full health in the back, just poking and doing damage. How can Epsilon get behind and focus on Soul?
It really depends, but it was hard for them. We saw Dimi try it a couple times, but he didn't always fully commit to the Soul. Paradigm did a really good job of protecting her and rotating back, and I think the Guan Yu is probably the most important key to that. It's not that he has a ton of CC to be able to lock down the opponents, but it's kind of the heal to where if Soul can pop that 3 and then disengage, heal up a couple seconds later, and then come back into the fight. And that's the thing, is that it's hard for Epsilon to fully commit to a Soul because they risk kind of just getting blown up. And the couple times we saw Adapting go in, or we saw Dimi go in, they were poked out pretty hard. The problem was that Epsilon, the players were down a little bit, so not one, like a single person couldn't just dive Soul. They had to full commit on the Soul and like full commit onto a team fight, which is really hard when you're down, because if you lose that team fight when you full commit to their backline, it's like the game is over, because that's when the enemy team gets multiple towers, multiple objectives, and steals your jungle, and then it's just like it goes from a 3k lead to like a 15k lead if you full commit to a fight and you lose it hard.
Do you guys feel like Epsilon had an underperforming player in that game?
No, not necessarily. I just think that the lack of communication for that one Guan specifically was their downfall, and they couldn't find ways, like Adonis mentioned, about locking down the Soul. It was very important for them to find those opportunities. They didn't find it. In the next game, they're going to have to either eliminate Soul earlier on in the game, or just make sure that they get the objective and disengage.
Why did Paradigm pick Cabrakan? We've seen him a few times in the tournament, and it never really seems to do too well.
Yeah, so Cabrakan was weird because Thor got first blood. And Thor is a character. So junglers set the tempo of the game, right? It's your jungler's job to say, I'm in control, we do this. And when you really have a lead, they set the tempo for both teams. But Adapting got first blood. He should have been able to set tempo, and I think Paradigm did a great job of waiting and not trying to play Thor's game with Cabrakan. Cabrakan cannot do that. Cabrakan cannot set tempo like Thor, but he can walk into a team fight, be a nuisance, sort of take aggro from Epsilon, and they were dumping all this damage into Qvo, and then Funballer just killed everyone.
Yeah, Cabrakan was honestly a really good, I wouldn't say a good pick overall, but it was really good in the sense that once iRaffer would initiate hard for Epsilon, they could lock him down. Because there was, like, the last couple team fights we saw was Cabrakan just caging in that Sylvanus after he blinked in, and there was nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, you mentioned, was there any player from Epsilon who underperformed? And I don't think Raffer underperformed. I think Paradigm did not allow him to perform. They said, this is what you want to do, we're going to stop you, we're going to lock you down, we're going to kill you on Sylvanus. And he could not be Raffer. He could not play his Sylvanus at all.
So how in Game 2 is Raffer going to counter that? Because it definitely seems like they are focusing iRaffer and, of course, Adapting. They're not allowing him to be the Adapting that we know.
Well, the thing is, the combination of the Guan Yu and the Cabrakan created more chaos and havoc in the backline than the Sylvanus and the Thor. So maybe that's something that Epsilon will look at, or they're just going to have to find ways to make the standard Sylvanus play work in the dual lane, potentially, with the Thor gank. So I think we saw the Thor gank one time, but the Soul was able to retreat under tower because Soul just doing Soul things.
Yeah, what are we going to see Epsilon do differently in Game 2, Adonis?
I think we'll see them stray away from the Sylvanus. It worked really well during the fall split, but it fell off from all teams because of the issues where if you can't be aggressive with Sylvanus, and he can get locked down and locked away from your team, he gets picked off really hard, where Geb can still have options, most notably the shield. Sylvanus kind of just like, it can heal you if you're sieging, but if you're behind, there's not that much if the other team's just winning the fight clean. So I think we'll see the Sylvanus kind of stray away because it's just like a little bit risky if you get behind, whereas other supports can make an impact in the game still.
Do you guys feel like there was a top player on Paradigm?
Ooh, top player on Paradigm. I think it was whoever was calling the team fights, right? I want to say that's Trixtank, but it's just the way they played the team fights, the way they pressured Raffer, the way they protected Funballer was what made Paradigm take that game, hands down.
We constantly see Bellona being prioritized, and she has such an impact on the game. How do you feel Xaliea played Bellona in this game?
I think he really performed well. Despite getting first blooded early on, he was able to outperform Dimi in these team fights, getting into the backline a lot easier. And that's due to, obviously, the Cabrakan and the Guan Yu on top of the Bellona. which allowed him to just constantly dive the backline. We see him here getting a nice kill, and he just made a bigger impact than Dimi.
So do you think Dimi's not going to pick tier this game?
He might not. I think the Bellona pick was really powerful because, as I mentioned earlier, it's the frontline batlining comp. And when you have a Bellona on top of your Cabrakan and he's got that extra protections, now you're really not killing him. So maybe Paradigm was just super ready for Epsilon, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe Epsilon pulls out another draft, pulls out another playstyle. I think it's really cool to see this team pressured, and I cannot wait to see how they respond.
Anatoly, do you want to change your prediction?
I mean, I predicted that Epsilon would win 3-1. Paradigm won the first game. Now they have something to go off of, and I think Epsilon will win the next one.
Really?
I think that they're going to take this game to heart. They're going to change their strategy, and we're gonna see basically like every single series, the meta shifts within the series, right? So they're going to change it up this Epsilon.
I think we're also going to see the individual players from Epsilon kind of show up a little bit more. Emilitoo was way too over-aggressive. He looked like his summer split play and not his fall split play. There was 2 instances I noticed. One, when Epsilon were chasing down Paradigm in the mid-game. This is still, I think the game was even. It was like 51k gold, 51k gold. Yammyn puts a portal, and Emilitoo is the first one to go in, and he faces 3 frontliners that he's doing absolutely no damage to. Just a completely over-aggressive play that he then immediately had to back out, and his ult was forced early in that fight. After that, just in that last engagement, actually, Emilitoo is chasing down all of Paradigm as they're going towards that tier 2 on the dual lane side, and then Paradigm are just like, what are you doing? And then they just blew him up and he died. It's just like, Emilitoo was incredibly over-aggressive for not a lot of reasons and had a lot of his cooldowns forced early, and I think he's going to be tightening up his play for the rest of the set.
Well, maybe Epsilon has a shot, or maybe Paradigm is going to upset again the #1 seeded team. Let's go to the casters to figure out for game 2.